Let's be real for a second. When it comes down to social media, I almost disappeared again, but God told me not to. God currently has me in a space where He wants me to listen more than I'm posting on social media. And when it comes down to me bearing fruit in this season, He's like, let's start pruning before you start producing. And so I'm realizing God intentionally has me in a season of being hidden, a little bit of isolation, and not out of punishment, but it's more so a harder and quieter season than I expected. And I want to talk about it. So let's do it. Hey, beautiful people. It is Ariel here from My Healing Prescription, a soft place to land for all things healing when it comes down to mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and financially. Now, one thing I will say about being self-aware is once you know, you cannot unknow it, you cannot ignore it, and you cannot forget about it. And I just found out that God has me in a pruning season and I need to talk about it because quite frankly, I am not okay. I am currently in a space where God is removing all the things that no longer serve me. He's quieting my distractions and He's currently refining my character so that I can sustain everything I've been praying for in this season. Now, to be clear, this pruning season is very uncomfortable. Absolutely. But I know in my heart of hearts that this is not punishment. God is not trying to punish me. I'm not in trouble. God is just trying to refine me so that I can be the woman that He's calling me to be. So instead of me ignoring it, resisting it, or even isolating myself, especially from social media, because you know your girl can disappear, I am choosing to walk through this season intentionally, practice my discipline, and strengthen my faith. Okay. And I want to document this entire process. So without further ado, I would love to introduce to you my new YouTube series, Let Her Cook, a pruning season series. This series is going to be one where I share my true journey while I'm in the thick of it. Not just something that I've already passed, of what it looks like to become the woman that God is calling me to be, right? So in this series, I'll be vulnerable, transparent, honest about where He's positioning me, what He's currently removing from my life, and where I'm being planted when it comes down to the different areas of my life as well. Now, you all keep hearing me say pruning. So let's define that before we move forward, shall we? So when it comes down to pruning plants, I have my notes here and I want to read exactly what Google has to say about it. So Google says it minimizes stress and disease, makes structure visible, and encourages strong new growth. When it comes to pruning, always remove dead, damaged, or diseased wood as soon as possible. And this is my favorite part, y'all. Pruning season is generally done in the late winter to early spring. That is exactly how I knew that I was in a pruning season. So when I started thinking about the process, I'm experiencing a lot of cycles. I'm experiencing depression, anxiety, and I'm experiencing a lot of anger, a lot of unstableness in the Christian world that looks like double-mindedness. And I'm actually reading Unshakable again by John Eckhart after 5 years ago. But I'm reading it again because I'm finding that my seasons are similar to when it was 5 years ago, a few years ago, and things like that. So I want to be clear on where I am mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically, right? And so I was watching a sermon, and in the sermon, he was saying, God has you in a pruning season. When things don't look like how you want them to look, He is removing all the dead things so that, He can bless you and you can move forward and you can sustain everything He's asking you to hold and keep. All the promises He made, they will not go null and void. You just don't have the character right now to handle that. That was a gut punch because who do you think He is calling me out like that? But it was true. Okay. So in the Bible, I want to read this part. In the Bible, it says, John 15, 1-2, it says, I am the true vine and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, He prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. So something as simple as going ghost on social media. I was having a conversation with my dad one day and he said, you never know who you bless when you post on social media. A lot of people see you, they just not gonna comment or whatever. But a lot of people have been reaching out to me once I went MIA on social media and they like, hey, just checking on you. And that was a reminder, you literally don't know who's watching. And sometimes you don't know who you're motivating. You don't know who you're inspiring when you post. So don't disappear. And that is the season that I'm in. I want to disappear. I want to get the hell up out of here. I'm talking about as far as like the social media life. My life has been in a fishbowl glass for at least a year now. And so sometimes it's uncomfortable when I'm going through my mental health spaces, because it's like, dang, sometimes I want to experience this stuff on my own, in my own world. And I have known that to not be useful or productive. In this pruning season, I want to be productive, so we don't have to experience this season again. Amen. Now, based on that scripture, Google says that God uses pruning as a metaphor for spiritual growth. He removes what hinders us for greater spiritual abundance, not as punishment, but as loving discipline to refine our character and increase our faith. Now, I don't know about you, but this pruning season, or anytime you're going through something that is where God is removing things from your life, a lot of things that you were comfortable with, it's uncomfortable and it hurts like hell. Can we be honest here? It hurts like hell. Because at this point, you're almost losing everything that you once knew. You are literally going to leave your home of comfort to go to somewhere God is going to say, I'll tell you when you get up. No, I need to know details now, please. Okay. So at this point, I'm a little scared. If I could be very honest and transparent in this process, knowing that I'm going through a pruning season, I'm scared. I'm terrified, because this looks like I have no other choice but to trust God. I have not allowed myself to fully immerse in the idea and concept of allowing my every part of my being to trust God. I've always had backup plans. I've always been in a space where, well, if this don't work out, I can always do this. I can always do this. I don't have a backup plan this time around. And that's scary for me, because I have a life. I have a lifestyle that I want. I have a vision for it. I believe God gave me this vision for it. So I'm navigating that. But right now, my life does not look like what that vision, you know what I'm saying? It's close. My freedom, my ability to just do entrepreneurship and what I want to do, it's close, but he's refining me as far as when I do get the million, I'm not spending it on going out to eat in reckless things. I'm using it to multiply and glorify his kingdom, right? Not in an overly spiritual way. Like, don't think this is one of those type of videos, but I literally have to tell you all what I'm experiencing in this season. This is my experience, and this is my testimony, and showing you all what it actually looks like to go through a pruning season where God is removing everything you once knew. And now it's you in a totally unknown space, unknown territory, have no idea where I'm going next, right? And we always grew up in a space of, for the Christians, for the preachers' kids and all of that, we always grew up in a space where they teach you what it looks like to have faith. But then when that faith is cultivated in you, a new kind of faith where, no, let's literally believe God for anything. You said, ask me for anything. And if it is aligned with me in my will, if you are aligned with me and I'm aligned with you, you'll have it. Once you believe it, you'll have it. So if you say that in the Bible, let me put you to the test. Somewhere in Mark, it says, put me to the test. So don't think I'm being putting him to the test in the way that the enemy tested Jesus while he was fasting in his 40 days. I'm not talking about that. In Matthew, I'm not talking about that. But I'm in a space where let's see what this kind of faith looks like. If you say I'm going to be first generational millionaire, okay. I'm scared, but let's do it. So if I have that as my vision, if God gave me that as my vision to be financially free, to be debt free, to have my student loans paid off, paid in full, to be first generational millionaire and multimillionaire to where it goes down generations to come and is sustained through generations, multiple generations, there is a lot that I have to work on in order to be this person. And I'm scared. So let's talk. So financially, I have $3 to my name. Y'all remember the last video that I made, my first video that I made of the year, January 12th. In that video, I was sharing that I had all these bills to pay and I think I had $47. I'll get into that. aspect, but basically God allowed me to pay off some on a credit card, and that opened up space for me to pay certain bills before the interest went up. So now again, I'm back at all credit cards are filled up and I have $3 to my name, and I actually owe $403. I paid $5 on a bill and it's currently late, but if God is in control, he's in control. So let me remove myself. Now, this is the scariest part because I've always been really good with my money and I've never really been late on payments. I've never been late on payments and things like that. I'm a stickler for that. But this time I was like, ooh, God is in control of everything. And if they're saying I'm going to get a late fee, I'm praying that late fee is less than $100. And God gives me way more where I'm not even worried about that. I can only hope, right? So mentally, I'm in a space where God help my unbelief, because you gave me this vision and my life is not looking like I'm on my way to where you are calling me. And that goes into the enemy plan, mind tricks and spirit of fear, imposter syndrome, not feeling like I belong, feeling inadequate, feeling like I don't trust myself when it comes to me mentally because I keep going through anxiety, depression, and experiencing anxiety, depression. And so it's just like, how do I get to the place that you're calling me to be if I'm going through waves of emotions? And that's what this pruning season is all about. I truly believe that he's going to uproot and renounce a lot of the emotional wavering that I've been experiencing. And I feel like this is going to be a season where I'm planted firmly. Now, this is going to be a 30-day full-on series so that I can document how I'm feeling, but do not get it twisted. These are episodes. And so in these episodes, yes, they will be back to back to back, but this will be continued throughout the 2026 year because I find that pruning season is necessary until I feel like I'm not in it anymore. And I feel like the pruning season may last a little longer than I would like it to, but I want to be diligent in this pruning season. I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can so that I don't have to come back and redo this all over again. Cycles. We ending that today. Okay. Again, I want to clarify and make sure you understand that if you are experiencing this season yourself, the pruning season does hurt, but it always has a purpose. God will never remove something without it having a purpose or without him being intentional. God is an intentional God. So don't think he's just removing things to be a meanie. Okay. Even though it feel like he being mean a little bit, but don't think that that's the season that we're in. We're in a space of cultivating, and sometimes it looks like incubating. Incubating is when, okay, the egg hasn't hatched yet, so let's put it in a warm environment that cultivates a space where the egg can hatch in a healthy way, right? Fully developed. So sometimes that isolation can hurt, but it heals. And so I want to make sure that this is not a woe was me kind of series. This is this pruning season requires my participation, because if I don't move, I'm in for a treat and a rude awakening. So I have to move. I have to move. So in this season, if you are experiencing this, you may feel like you're behind. Even though you've been faithful in many areas, you may feel like, why am I not where I want to be right now? I'm supposed to be here, says who, right? You might feel a little restless. You can't sleep. You're struggling with feeling rested because your current space can't hold the new you that God is requiring you to be. So it feels uncomfortable. And it's also going to be uncomfortable because when God removes you, it seems harder than what you left, but you weren't happy in the space where you left. So God is calling you to something greater. So I want you to keep staying in that mindset of God is calling me to something greater. And this essentially is what I want. This is the life I want to live. So let me lock in and, see what he has for me. Why not trust in somebody who can actually change your life? Why not? What's the best thing that can happen? Not the worst. What's the best thing that could happen from trusting the process of going through this pruning season? Okay, so in this pruning season series, we're going to be breaking it down into 3 different phases. So let's break those down real quick. So phase 1 is going to be all about awareness and acknowledgement. This is the something doesn't feel right phase, but I'm finally feeling like I could say it out loud. In this phase, it's like you still love God, but you're confused, you're disappointed. And at this point, you don't even know if you could trust God all the way. The goal here is naming the tension. It's not fixing it. Phase 2 is all about discipline, warfare, and alignment. So this phase is all about learning how to stand firm and keep moving while you wait. Yes, faith without works is dead, but what does that actually look like? About once you admit where you are, the question becomes, okay, so what do I actually do now? So this is the learning phase where you learn about stability and a solid foundation. And it's time to stop spiraling and start participating. Now, when it comes to phase 3, this is all about that action. Okay, so this phase is about moving forward, lighter, clearer, and more obedient. This is where people stop surviving the season and they start transitioning out of it, because who wants to stay in this forever, right? So forgiveness, fasting, obedience, discipline, and identity all come together here. And this phase is less about learning and more about doing. So think, I'm not carrying this anymore, or I'm moving even when I'm scared. So the point of phase 3 is freedom and momentum. And I'm helping you walk in what we've learned in this season. So over the next few episodes, I'll be sharing what this season is teaching me when it comes down to my obedience, my rest, my identity, and my trust in God, and what my faith looks like. So this is going to be real-time reflection. This is not going to be me preaching to y'all. This is not showing the perfect side of things. No, this is real time, me going through a pruning season, incubating season where God is literally letting her cook. Okay, so think of this Let Her Cook, a pruning season series, as you walking with me and not you watching me. Okay, and I want to be clear on what this is not as well. So again, I'm not going to be preaching to you. You're walking with me through it. This is also not a 30-day challenge where I'm trying to become something that I'm not in 30 days, or become something that I'm not ready to become in 30 days. This is also not me promoting hustle motivation. Some things look like very ugly, very uncomfortable, very not demure. Okay. And this is not me having all the answers. I'm just allowing God to use me as a vessel to show you all what it looks like and how you can move through a season that is uncomfortable in an unknown season. Okay. So if you are in a quiet, confusing, lost, or in between space, and you feel like you may be experiencing this pruning season as well, I'm just going to ask you to stay with me, walk with me during this season, and just process where you are. Practice your self-awareness, tap into your relationship with God, and figure out where your faith lies during this season, and just give encouraging words to other people. If other people want to comment, be nice in the comments, be real and honest in the comments, share where you are as well if you feel led to. This is not going to be one of those things where I'm like, hey, let me know in the comments if. No, I'm just going to ask you all to go with me through the journey. Give me motivation as well. Your girl going to need it. Okay. Because y'all are seeing in real time what it looks like. So I'm going to try to do minimal edits as well and just be me. And y'all know I'm a hoot. So y'all are going to be in for a treat. Okay, so episode 1 will start tomorrow, and I'm so excited because we're going to be talking about God, help me with my unbelief. Life is not looking like what it's supposed to right now, and it's going to be about having an honest and open relationship with God, because at this point, honesty is all that you have. God already knows your heart. He already sees your heart. So take this moment to do some self-reflection, figure out what season you're in, what space you're in, and if this series is going to resonate with you. And I hope I see you tomorrow for episode 1. I'll see you later. Peace.